Aston Villa 2, Liverpool 2. What a game of football for a neutral. So we're going to be breaking it down. We're going to be looking at some Aston Villa individual performances. But that game, first of all, for a neutral, it was brilliant. Had everything. It was end-to-end. There was big moments in the game. No team looked like they were time wasting. Both teams wanted to win the game. And from start to finish in that game, it was exciting. I thought both teams grew into the game, but both teams had moments to win the game. Liverpool a bit more, but Aston Villa fully deserved a draw. I didn't think neither side deserved to lose that game. The title race now was wide open. Aston Villa gave just as much as it got from Liverpool, in my opinion. Moving the ball well, they were there, they were competing, going toe-to-toe with Liverpool, and that's what you want as a Villa fan. It takes two to make a good game, so Aston Villa deserve just as much credit as what Liverpool deserved. Like I've just mentioned, the game could have went either way. Neither side deserved to lose, so looking back in reflection, a draw is probably a fair result. Liverpool opened the scoring with Mohamed Salah, and that mistake from Andreas Garcia, I feel for him, and we're going to be talking about him individually very shortly, and I've got a few words, maybe positive words to say about that boy, but Aston Villa's response was excellent, bounce back, and that's what good teams do. And I kind of feel like Liverpool's opening goal woke Aston Villa up, because I think they started not slowly but a bit hesitant, and then once Liverpool went up, I think that woke up Aston Villa and they really grew into that game. But Salah being Salah, just so efficient once again. But Aston Villa really grew into the game, and like I mentioned, that's what good teams do. You respond well, you react well, and Aston Villa did just that. But talk about Aston Villa just for a second. I think it's so ironic that Aston Villa have had to play Kamara at centre-back. When they eventually get two fit centre-backs, Kamara gets injured, so they were left without Kamara, Tielemens, McGinn in the midfield. But I thought Watkins, Rodgers, Asensio and Rashford are showing signs of something very frightening. I think there's little glimmers of signs that once they get that continuity and consistency in their performances, eventually it will just click and they will look good. So just going over my general thoughts of the game. Liverpool had a much higher XG, but that's probably to be expected. But Aston Villa were always threatening. I thought Youri Tielemens was exceptional once again, deserved his goal. And again, we're going to touch him on individually. I was surprised by Slot by taking off Trent, because I thought as the game grew on, he was having more of an impact. But Liverpool having chances is what you expect. Liverpool are top of the league for a reason. So people saying it's 2 points drop for Liverpool. Yes, it might be, but Aston Villa fully deserved at least a draw for that game. It was a real spirited performance from Aston Villa. So as we break down the game, let's look at some individual performances. And Liverpool opened the scoring, and it was from an Aston Villa mistake. Andreas Garcia, yes, he made the mistake. That happens. But when you're scouting a player, and when you watch a player, and I know this because I've done a bit of scouting for Premier League clubs, and they really made us look at this specific trait, is when a player does make a mistake, what's his reaction like? And I thought this sums up Andreas Garcia. He didn't let it affect his performance. He didn't go hiding. He was wanting the ball. He was trying to make things happen. He was getting up and down the pitch. He was energetic. He was dynamic. He was trying to be creative. He was winning duels defensively. Good recovery pace. He just didn't let it affect his game, and that's a sign of a really, really talented player. Superb attitude from the guy, and I think this is a really shrewd and very, very exciting signing for Aston Villa. Like I mentioned in my previous show, he's constantly going to give you at least a 7 or 8 out of 10. He's that sort of professional, and you need those in your squad. And I think this boy is going to be a real gem for Aston Villa. And in terms of the game overall, I thought he offers Aston Villa now something different. Instead of having always your left winger inverting, which was either Jacob Ramsey or Morgan Rodgers, and Lucas Digne offering the width, now you can be more unpredictable when you would go forward, because now you can have Garcia offering the width, and maybe having your right winger inverting, just like we've seen yesterday with Morgan Rodgers, playing a little bit closer to Ollie Watkins and having Rashford as a touchline winger. And I'll show you it on display. So if I have a look at Aston Villa's average positioning against Liverpool, usually it would be the left winger inverting inside, playing in these areas, and having Lucas Digne playing in these areas, but not against Liverpool. And I think they did this specifically because of the threat of Mo Salah. But what Garcia does offer you is that ability to get forward more than Matty Cash. That allows Morgan Rodgers to come inside and play closer to Asensio or Ollie Watkins. So you're not changing your philosophy for Unai Emery. you're just adapting the style and the system, because now instead of your right winger offering the width, you've got Marcus Rashford offer you the width because he's happy receiving on the touchline and bearing down on the goal. And we're seeing that yesterday because he was bright, positive, direct, and it allowed Morgan Rogers to come in. Look at his heat map. It's a lot different to Marcus Rashford, and that's because he had the license to come inside, which then give Garcia the license to get forward. So this is what I'm talking about, is players and profiles make a good team, and this now allows Aston Villa not to be one-dimensional. Now they can start using the right wing as they used the left wing previously to his arrival. So he offers a bit more unpredictable style of football for Aston Villa. Like I mentioned, mistakes happen in football. Players do make the wrong decision and misplace a pass. That happens, but the best players react well. And you've got to think, this is what, his third appearance for Aston Villa? When you're coming up against Liverpool, one of the best attacks in the league, I thought he was a quality player yesterday. And speaking of quality, I want to talk about Youri Tielemens because he deserved his goal, getting in the box, arriving late. It was a nice composed finish from the guy, hitting it low, making sure it was on target. But for me, he was Aston Villa's man of the match. He's super consistent, and this is what I like about him. Again, never goes hiding, always wants the ball, always trying to make things happen. And he's got a quality in possession that you just crave for in your team. He's a player that definitely deserves more credit than he's getting. He moves the ball so sharply. He's got great use of the ball. He speeds his game up and slows it down at the right times. He's starting to get on the ball a lot more and dictate the game. When you think, he's coming up against Gravenberch, Sosbalai, Alex McAllister, these are exceptional footballers, and he went toe-to-toe with them and actually was very good. But it's not just his on-ball qualities. He's working hard off the ball. Look at his statistics. He's making tackles, making interceptions, making blocks, winning back possession. And that's all you can ask for your midfielder. And I thought he was terrific in the middle of the park for Aston Villa. He didn't allow Liverpool to overrun them because that's what Liverpool are brilliant at. But he stood up, went toe-to-toe with them. I thought McGinn grew into the game. I thought he got better. I thought he was a bit passive when the game first started. He grew into it, but you are missing Kamara in that middle of the park and Onana. It's going to be interesting what Unai Emery does because he's got options now. When Onana comes back, does he start Kamara and Onana? Does he push Tielemens in the attack midfielder role and drop Asensio? He's got numerous options, and this is what you want as a team, especially when you're going deep in competitions like the FA Cup, like the Champions League, also wanting to be competitive in the Premier League. Speaking about Ollie Watkins, again, I want to talk about his goal because it was world-class centre-forward play. Dropping deep, linking up play, making the chance happen, spreading the ball out wide, but then his first thought is, can I get into the box? How can I make an impact and finish off this chance? Timed his run perfectly, and the glancing header was exceptional. Didn't need any power on it, just glancing it in the far corner. And for any kid out there watching, watch that bit of centre-forward play from Ollie Watkins because that is exactly what elite centre forwards do. But I just thought his overall game was good yesterday. He led the line well. He was allowing players to run off him. He was linking up play well. And I think with Rashford, Asensio and Rogers, they're still trying to feel each other out. Like I mentioned earlier, there's signs there that this can be something special. So as long as they just get that consistency and continuity, they will start to learn about each other's games a lot more. So brilliant night for Aston Villa in my opinion. But there's two other players I do want to talk about, and that's Axel Disasi. Don't let Chelsea fans fool you about his overall performance. Look at him from the Monaco side of things because at Chelsea he was getting misprofiled, getting played out of position, and it really affected him. And he deserves a special mention for this game because he was defensively exceptional today. I thought he was reading the game well. And the one question I had about Disasi, I think his physicality is good. He's got good pace considering his size. But the one question I had and the one question mark I had about him is his concentration levels. And I thought they were pretty good today against Liverpool. I thought he closed the space well when he needed to. He was using his physicality. And when people talk about that Darwin Núñez chance, I actually think it was because of Disasi putting him off. Disasi tried to come across, make a block, and that sliding tackle actually put Darwin Núñez off what he was trying to do. And he was calm, unfazed in big moments. He was positionally really very good. It was just an all-round solid display from the guy, and I think he deserves a lot of credit because at Chelsea, all he was getting is criticised. And then the final guy I want to talk about is Marcus Rashford, because I've seen on social media that everybody's put created no big chances, he had no shots. That doesn't matter. what I enjoyed about Marcus Rashford's performance yesterday is how brave and direct he was in possession. Really positive. He was linking up the play well with Ollie Watkins, Asensio and Lucas Digne, and he offers that unpredictability to Aston Villa's attacks. Exceptional in transition moments, and he's a real big outlet when he's hugging that touchline. What I like about him when he receives a ball is he's always forward facing, wanting to score goals, wanting to make an impact in the final third, wanting to create for his team. He's a big threat, and that's why Liverpool probably had one eye on him, because they know he's got that X factor ability where he can just produce in big moments. And I think once his confidence grows, and you can see it growing in him, once it grows even more, he's going to have a big moment in a big end Aston Villa season. But not only that, what I enjoyed about him, you can see him pressing well. You can see him trying to work hard out of possession. And that's all you can ask for from a footballer that's low of confidence, is do the right things and everything else will come. And I feel like he's starting to do those right things. And I think like the goals, the assists will eventually come, because as long as you're doing the right things, the form is temporary, but class is permanent. And those goals, those assists, those big chance creations will eventually come. But again, Aston Villa fans just need to support the lad, because he will get there, I'm sure of that. But all in all, I thought it was a good performance from Aston Villa. I thought everybody looked sharp, they looked hungry, they looked positive, and they didn't shy away once Liverpool went up. And that's what you want from your team. I think a lot of people are looking at Aston Villa's results and thinking they're in a bad way of form, but I actually see it differently. I'm looking at the performances rather than results. As long as the performances are there, the results will eventually come. Everybody goes through a bad time during the season, and if you look at Aston Villa, you see draw, win, win, because I've drew a lot of games in recent times, but the performances are definitely there. And I think I'd be more worried as an Aston Villa fan if you weren't creating chances, if you weren't defending well, if you weren't moving the ball well, if the performances were very lackluster. But they're not. The performances are really positive. So as long as you keep on doing the basics well, doing the right things, the results will eventually come. And you've got Chelsea on the weekend. Chelsea are not confident at the moment, not in great shakes, but they have had a lot of time to prepare for this game. So it's going to be interesting to see what Unai Emery does. Will he rotate the team, or will he start with that team? I thought Daniel Malen came on, looked very good. Jacob Ramsey come on, looked very sharp. A lot of people that are coming off the bench for Aston Villa are having an impact. Aston Villa could have won that game right at the end. And I thought Aston Villa actually ended the game more positively than what Liverpool did. And that's a good sign that you can end games well. So Aston Villa weren't just sitting back defending and trying to defend this lead. They were trying to win that game, and the atmosphere was good at Villa Park. I just thought it was a brilliant night of football. But I want to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with my comments, or is there anything you disagree about? But from the outside looking in, Aston Villa are doing the right things, and I'm sure of it that the results will come. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and to support this channel, make sure you hit that like button. And I'm sorry about my voice, because I do have a bad throat at the moment. But thank you very much for watching, and hope you enjoyed this episode. And until next time, up the Villa.